All right, let's talk about Pfizer. The stock's been making some, let's just say, confusing moves lately. So, is this something to worry about, or is it just the usual market noise? We're going to unpack all the technical data to figure out what's really going on with PFE. Let's dive in.
Okay, so here's the deal. The stock recently dipped, closing down about 1.69% at 24.43. Now, you know how it is. For some folks, any drop is a big red flag. For others, it's just a blip on the radar. So which is it? Well, the only way to really know is to follow the clues, the technical clues.
And just like any good mystery, before we can solve it, we've got to understand the main character. And in this case, that's the stock's personality. Yeah, believe it or not, every stock has one. So what kind of character are we dealing with here?
Our first clue is something called beta. And you can just think of beta as a stock's temperament, right? It basically tells us how much it freaks out or doesn't compared to the rest of the market. If it's over 1, it's pretty volatile. Under 1, it's more chill.
So what about Pfizer's beta? It's just 0.38, and let me tell you, that is incredibly low. This tells us the stock has a really calm personality. It doesn't get rattled by the market's daily drama. It's the steady, stable type.
Okay, next up, the risk/reward ratio. It's sitting at about 2.41, which is, well, it's pretty average. It's not promising you the moon, but it's not flashing any big warning signs either. It's just kind of middle of the road.
But, and this is a pretty big but, here's where we need to be a little more cautious. The stock's overall technical score is 40.05, which honestly is pretty weak. So even though it's a stable stock, its technical health right now, not so great. And that definitely adds a layer of caution to this whole thing.
And this is where we get to the plot twist. Because once you start digging a little deeper into the data, you find some clues that are, well, they're completely at odds with each other. It's like there's a financial tug-of-war happening right under the surface. If you look at the volume data, which is just how many shares are being bought and sold, it reveals this really fascinating struggle. So who's winning? Who's in control? Is it the long-term investors who might be heading for the exits, or the short-term traders jumping in for a quick profit?
And boom, here's that conflict right in your face. On one side, a key long-term indicator is way down in negative territory. That suggests big money, the long-term players are selling. But on the other side, a short-term indicator is positive, which means recently buyers have been stepping up. It's a total standoff.
And this split isn't just in one place, it's everywhere you look. Take the momentum indicators, the things that measure how fast the price is moving. They are all over the map. Some are flashing weak sell, others are just shrugging their shoulders and staying neutral, and a couple are even whispering weak buy. There's just no agreement at all.
Okay, so with all this chaos happening under the hood, what's the stock actually doing? What path is it on? For that, we turn to the charts for our next big clue. What we're seeing is a price that's just stuck. It's moving in this super tight, narrow channel. It's basically just hugging its own shadow, its recent average prices. And that's a textbook sign of a market that's perfectly balanced, just moving sideways, because neither the buyers nor the sellers can get an edge. And I mean, look at how tight that range really is. The last price, 24.43, is literally just pennies away from its 5-day, 10-day, and 20-day averages. That tells you there is zero strong momentum in either direction right now. And if we get a little nerdy for a second, a tool called linear regression basically confirms this whole story. It spots this tiny, almost flat downward drift. But, and you gotta pay attention here, look at that R-squared value. It's almost 0. What that means in plain English is that the price isn't really following this trend at all. The connection is super, super weak. So you really can't trust that trend. All right, let's recap. We've got a calm stock personality. We've got a massive tug of war between buyers and sellers, and it's stuck on a sideways path. I think it's time to put all these clues together and deliver the verdict.
So here's the bottom line. The evidence isn't pointing to some big crash, but it's not signaling a massive breakout either. Instead, every single sign is pointing to what we call a consolidation phase. And that's just a fancy way of saying it's stuck in a period of indecision. The stock is kind of just taking a breath, trying to figure out where it's going to go next.
So what should you be watching? The single most important number on the chart right now is the pivot point. It's at $24.39. You can think of it like the stock center of gravity. Whatever the price does around this specific level, that's going to be the big signal for what happens next.
Think of these levels as the guardrails on the highway for the near future. Down below, you've got support, that's the floor, at 24.15. Up top, you've got resistance, the ceiling, at 24.67. And that all-important pivot point, it's sitting smack dab in the middle of that range.
So what this really boils down to is 3 possibilities in the short term. Scenario 1, the bullish path. The price smashes through that ceiling and makes a run for $25. Scenario 2, the bearish path. It drops below the pivot and goes to test that floor. And scenario 3, well, we just get more of the same, this sideways quiet drift.
And at the end of the day, that's the big takeaway. All of the data tells us this stock is just in a holding pattern. That tug of war we talked about, it's created a stalemate. So what does that mean for you? It means right now, patience is the name of the game. But I want to leave you with this final thought. This quiet, balanced state, it's not going to last forever. You can bet that pressure is building up under the surface. So the real question isn't if it's going to make a big move, it's when and which way. When one side finally wins this tug of war, are we going to see a huge breakout to the upside or a nasty breakdown? That is the multi-million-dollar question.